What is up, everybody? It's very sorry for the mild hiatus that seems to have been going on. I've just been slammed with a few things and lots of backed up content, so I really appreciate everybody's patience with the videos. So without further ado, I wanted to talk to you today about some group riding expectations and a little bit about rider pride. The thing I wanted to talk about today was something that happened on the group ride. I think it's important to have good expectations and understandings about the groups that you're riding with, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with being picky about the groups that you decide to ride with, because it could be, your safety can be at stake. All that aside, this particular rider, we hit a section of the mountain and they had told people that this was a new road for them. I actually offered to kind of hang back and make sure that they were going to be okay, not realizing that this rider was going to literally do the speed limit up the mountain, which is far less than what that mountain is capable of handling when it comes to a motorcycle. The mistake that the group made as a whole was we didn't wait at the top of the hill. We should have. That was a mistake. I was not the group leader, but I was still part of the group, and therefore I share in some of the responsibility of that. That being said, this particular rider, so I decided after hanging back for a bit, watching this rider, and figuring things were going to be okay. One, their speed was relatively low. Two, this individual frequently rides one of the more technical areas of Phoenix on a regular basis. Three, this rider has openly advertised dragging me on multiple occasions on their bike, which is something that I've personally never done on my R1 ever. From a skill standpoint. And so all this aside, I'm thinking, okay, they're going relatively slow. This is a person who claims they can drag me. All right, I'm just going to kind of split the difference. I'm going to go maybe 5/10 on the mountain and we'll be good. Well, we hit the top of the mountain. We didn't stop. We kept going. Well, apparently this rider crashed not once but twice and was pretty upset when there was nobody, when nobody immediately came back for them. But here's the problem. First of all, the first crash, all right, that's understandable, but the second crash was because of pride. It was because of rider pride. And I understand the desire to get back on the bike right away, but this rider made a serious mistake. They got back on the bike and they decided that they were going to hammer it harder. Now, how they crashed, I have no idea. It's a double lane wide road. There's plenty of visibility. But the fact that this rider, I think this would bring the total amount of crashes that this rider has experienced to 5, maybe 4, since they started riding, which was about 6 months ago. Something's really wrong there. And the first thing was the group stopped way ahead of the rider. We did stop, and in fact, we had an individual that went back for them. But this rider was pretty upset that they rode by themselves for 30 minutes while the faster group went ahead. And, the other complaint was that there was nobody within visual distance because allegedly the bike pinned the rider. Although I don't understand how a moving motorcycle can pin you unless you stopped dead and it fell over. But it is what it is. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. So all I have is the word of the rider. As if that's not bad enough. 2 crashes, one of them due to rider pride because they refused to take it easy. So now the rider is hurt. Now, they made the right decision. They rode with us for a little bit of a distance, but they made the smart decision to go home. After I crashed, I knew I was hurt. I knew I was going to deteriorate. I got on the bike and I rode it straight home, because I knew the sooner I got to Phoenix, the sooner I could get checked out, and likely the quicker likely the closer the bike is to home, which is important because I didn't want to have the bike towed. After this is all said and done, this rider takes to Facebook, proceeds to blast the entire group, but of course not naming names and with no intention on having the whole story told. Makes it out to be that the group left them behind, that nobody would, despite me actually pointing out that one of the friends of the rider went back for them, claiming that nobody went back for them. And finally, not only that this rider's going to continue to ride the mountain after getting checked out and having been claimed to have a pretty serious shoulder injury. This rider openly admits they can only ride well with one arm, and yet they're going to continue to ride the mountain. Now, of course, in this case, the bike is their only form of transportation at the moment. I get that, but openly but hitting the mountain and claiming that I got this, I can ride with one arm, I could ride with one arm. No, you can't. It's rider pride, and it's gonna get you killed if you listen to it too much. You know, I understand that there's, as you ask almost any motorcycle rider about an experience with them crashing. What I find incredibly inspirational is that motorcycle riders are filled with individuals who literally fall down, get right back up. Fall down, get right back up. And these are people that some of these individuals, the crashes are so bad, you wouldn't blame them if they quit. You wouldn't blame them if they said, you know what, this riding thing just isn't for me, but yet they still keep going. And it's amazing to watch them do that. I understand the desire to get back on the horse right away, but when you do, you have to have that gut check. You have to really be able to dig deep and realize, look, you know, you're not infallible. You know, take a breather, recompose yourself, and get back on the bike when your mind is right. And that's the thing, is riding is just as much mental as it is physical. In fact, I would argue probably more so. It's more so mental. I mean, the physical component is much greater than that of a car, but that being said, there is a huge mental component. And if you're not right in the head, you're going to get hurt. Hey, this will work. Way back in a minute. I guess there's a few basic things from my limited experience that you could do to make your group rides more successful. Now, this isn't about, I'm not talking about organizing, I'm talking about as an individual rider. First of all, find a group that closely matches your riding style. This is why you don't typically see cruisers and sport bikes riding together. Not because we all hate each other, but very simply because we have two very different styles of riding. Cruisers are more relaxed. They're typically going to be a slower pace. They're not out there to hit the corners. They're out there to enjoy the ride and to enjoy the scenery, things like that. Sport bike riders, of course, are out usually to hit the corners. We're out to go fast. Of course, we're out to enjoy the ride. It's just a different kind of ride. Make sure you pick the group that matches your riding style as close as possible. Now, that being said, if you're looking to make yourself a better rider, and if you're like me, so number two, if you don't ask anything of your group, then don't expect anything. If you know you're going on a ride with faster riders, and you're going to be riding on a section of road that you've never been on before, then pair up with somebody. And don't just assume that everybody knows your riding skill level. Don't just assume that everybody knows your riding style. Talk to somebody. And be sure to work out ahead of time. Hey, like, you know, find yourself a rider that you trust. Say, look, I'd really appreciate if you could, you know, ride with me because I've never been on this stretch of road before, or I'm not really sure about my bike, you know, mechanically something may be wrong. You know, asking somebody to hang back with you, there's nothing wrong with that. And that kind of, it goes into more of the rider pride kind of situation because, you know, you have to be able to ask for help. You have to be able to be humble enough to acknowledge when you need the assistance of another rider, and that's okay. We all need help at some point or other. We've all been new, you know, we've all started out at one point or another. We all know that experience, and we all know what it's like. We all know what it's like to be alone, and we know the relief that we have when we're kind of shepherded through some of those times when it's kind of scary. Starting to get hot, ladies and gentlemen. It is starting to get hot, and you can all start commencing all your laughing. So group expectations are important. Not expecting your group to babysit you is important unless you ask for it ahead of time and you arrange for it with someone in your group. And but above all, I mean, riding is a group activity, but it's also very solo. And the most important thing with any group ride, any group ride, of course, is to ride your own ride. And that's part of that group, that's part of that rider pride, because this particular rider in question began accusing the group of pressuring them because we were riding our own ride, because we were riding faster than they were. We were pressuring them into pushing themselves beyond their limits. I'm sorry, but nobody in the group was twisting that throttle. Nobody in that group was forcing you to hang off the bike unnecessarily. The group didn't do anything. Nobody was egging you on, and even if they were, nobody but you is in control of your motorcycle. Nobody can make you do anything on your bike, short of, you know, avoiding a collision. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the chat today. I don't ride with people who intentionally put themselves at unnecessary risk by riding injured, riding when they know they shouldn't. And you can add drunk, you can add riding drunk, you can add riding fatigued, riding tired, all of those situations. If you're the kind of rider where, obviously, if you're drunk and you ride, obviously if you're fatigued and you ride, all that kind of stuff, I don't support any of that. I mean, again, I'm not an expert, guys. You have to exercise your best and, you know, your best judgment based on the people that you ride with. But if you don't ask anything of your group, you can expect nothing from your group. And if a group doesn't fit you very well, then don't ride with them. but because above all, you know, it's your safety that's at stake. But if you do crash, if something does happen, don't hold your group responsible. They're not the ones, they're not doing anything on that bike, it's all you. And I mean, like I said, we made the mistake of not waiting at the top of the hill like we should have. And of course, you just, the rider pride of, you know, oh, I'm not giving up, I'm not giving up, and that's fine, you shouldn't give up. But be smart about it. You know, give yourself time to heal, both physically and mentally, because you crash, it's a huge hit to your confidence. It's hard to get back on that bike and to start just railing on it and do so, you know, in a manner that is not going to get you killed. So, you know, give yourself time to heal mentally and physically, and then get back on the horse. I mean, I love the stories that I hear about people that, you know, end up in these crazy crashes sometimes, and they, you know, they're fearless. They get right back on the horse, and that's awesome. So take care, guys. Ride safe out there. Thank you to everybody. Thank you for watching today, and we will see you out there.